Howdy UCCNC users and especially Turn users. I guess out of frustration of trying to get comfortable with Mach 4 for Turn after having used Mach 3 for a long time, I gave up on that, and I've been working a little bit on a plug-in to do Turn stuff in UCNC. So the biggest thing that's been missing obviously is a tool offset table that takes care of both X and Z offsets. So this plugin, I'm calling it TurnTable for now. It's an initial first cut. Essentially what it is it's a tool table, and I've already loaded up a bunch of offsets for all my tools I typically use. A couple other things it does. What I do to set up my tools is I use a little this is an insulated ID-OD turned standard. I know the ID and the OD and the end face, and it's stuck on a plastic bushing, so it's insulated. What I do is put that in the chuck of the spindle, and I hook a probe wire to it, and then I touch tools into it using jog-safe probe mode. So that's a really great application for jog-safe probe that UCNC has. You just bump the tool right into it, it stops, and then I've got the ID, the OD, and a spot for the Z face. So you just bump the tool in, say to the OD, you hit the touch OD button when you're highlighted on your active tool, and you pull in the X and Z offsets. Once you've got your table set up, you can save it. You can apply the offset for a given tool manually. Another thing you can do on setup, it's set up so you can emulate a diameter mode in UCNC. So the first time you run the plugin, what you'll do is, this is going to be where you bring in your radial steps per unit. So if you punch in, move 1 unit, your x-axis will move 1 unit as a radial mode. This is the same value. If you go into settings here for the x-axis, your steps per unit, right? You've got a button here, you hit that, it'll pull that into here, and then you want to save that off so it stays put forever. And then what happens is when you go into diameter mode, this pop-up won't happen at a later time when the bugs are out, but so automatically the plugin will double up your XDRO, and then if you look at the steps per unit, it's manually cut that in half and saved it and applied it in UCNC. So basically you're ready to run G-code in diameter mode now. And then if we go back to the lathe tool table, the last thing it does currently is, while you're running a G-code automatically, it'll be constantly pulling in the tool number, and if you've got this checkbox up here checked, it'll automatically set the offset without you touching anything. So the way I've been running my machine, I got a little Denford Star Turn here. It's my trusty demo tool. I've got just a quick change tool post here, standard setup. I've got my handful of tools here. Again, these are what I've already got plugged into this tool table. So the one thing I haven't done, so if you test this plugin, my settings on general setup, on tool change, I have stop spindle and wait for cycle start. I've not tested this with an automatic M6 macro. I don't have a tool changer, and I don't do ignore, because it'll go blasting by and not give you any time to change your tool. So the only way I've tested it is with the stop and wait for start checkbox. So if you run a tool change macro and you test this, I'd appreciate to hear back if that works for you. I don't see why it wouldn't, I just don't have a way to test it. So give a quick demo. I've got some G-code loaded. All this G-code's going to do is pull up a tool, do an M6 T1, And the other thing I'll mention is, so you got to call in your tool with an M6. Mach 3, you used to be able to just call T0101 and get tool 1. You can call in 0707. The plugin's only going to see it call in as T7. So right now you can't call in a separate offset for tool. When you call in a tool, whether you use T1 or T0101, you're going to get tool 1. And you got one offset for that one tool. So as a demo here, again, all this thing's going to do is call in a tool, and all I'm going to do is hit cycle start and change tools. I'm not going to do anything over here on the plugin at all, but as you keep an eye on it, you'll see it'll change the active tool and start changing the offsets all by itself. So I'm just going to hit rewind file, do a cycle start. So there you see it pulled in, active tool is 1. I'm going to grab my number 1 tool, drop it on here. All I do is hit cycle start, and I've got it set up to, I've lost my position here. So I'm going to stop this so you can see how you set things up again. I didn't re-zero my tool from the start. So I'm just going to roughly jog tool 1 up near my pencil tip, which I'm using as a demo indicator. That's what I want to be 00 on tool 1. So this is a good show of how this works. I'm going to bring this back to 1. I'm going to set the offsets for that tool, and then I'm not where I want to be, so I'm going to 0 it. Now if I go back here, I'm going to jog my tool away, and I'm going to restart my program here. Rewind the file, cycle start, goes back to tool 1. And there it landed where I set it. Now it's moving back to a tool change position. It says load up tool 7 because that's the next one I got listed. So I'll just grab tool 7 here, drop it on there. All I'm going to do is hit cycle start. And there it's got both X and Z offset loaded in. So now it's asking for tool 9. For me, that's a little boring bar. Drop that guy on there. All I'm going to do is hit cycle start again. So I think you get the idea. If this was running a real G-code program, all you'd have to be doing there is sitting there waiting for a tool change to be requested. Change the tool manually, like I'm doing in my case. So here is number 5 for me. It's a threading tool. Just going to hit cycle start. And we'll just do one more tool just for fun. So tool 4 for me is a parting tool. Drop that thing on there. Hit cycle start. So that in a nutshell is this first cut at TurnTable for UCCNC. Again, it's just got XZ offset table. It automatically loads tools as the G-code program runs through, and you can toggle between radius and diameter for now. So that's where it's at. I'm gonna throw it up on the CNC Drive forum for people to try out and give me some feedback. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.